Hello, I'm Anthony David Hobbs, and this is my review of the 1979 movie Alien. What can I say about Alien? Well, lots of stuff. There's lots of issues in it and everything, and it is a really good story, yeah. And, quick bit of trivia first. In 1979, Kenner, the same company that made the Star Wars toys, they made a really big toy of the alien creature from the movie Alien, yeah. And it was about that big, about 18 inches tall, so yeah, way bigger than the Star Wars figures. Anyway, the point is, the Kenner company, they hadn't actually seen the film. They had like detailed designs of what the creature looks like, so just did that, make a good toy, yeah. And it does something that it doesn't do in the film. No, it has a head that can glow in the dark or something like that. And it has, yes, the extra mouth that comes out its main mouth, yeah. But it was disastrous. It didn't sell very well at all because you have to understand, in 1979, the movie was brand new. Hasn't been released on video yet, so the only way you can see it is by going to the cinema. And of course, children were not allowed to see it. It was like an 18 certificate film, yeah. But because the toy sold so badly, it became really rare, and toy collectors are after it, yes. The first ever toy version of the Alien, yeah. Or Xenomorph, yeah. Okay, the thing is, Aliens, it was a little bit confusing because I think my earliest memory of the Alien franchise was I was about 10 and I was just channel hopping, and it was about 10 o'clock at night and I didn't have to go to school the next day because it was a Saturday. But anyway, there was this, I just saw footage of a spaceship, going past the screen, and then it said Aliens, yes. The title of the film was Aliens, and I thought, well, it's on late at night, so it'll be scary, okay. So I didn't want to see it, I was only 10, not ready for scary films. And I thought, that's a very generic title, isn't it? Aliens, loads of sci-fi films have aliens in it. Could you be more specific? No. But apparently that's the appeal of the film, this very simple title, yeah. And I knew there were three of these films. There's been a lot more than three since then, but at the time there were three. And obviously, I knew, I'd wits enough to know Alien 3 is the third one. But what's the first one and what's the second one? I thought Aliens was the first one, and I thought there must be another one called Alien 2 or something. And I thought Alien had nothing to do with that's a totally different film. Well, how wrong can you be? But then in my defence, if you've never heard of a film before and it has sequels and they don't have numbers at the end, how are you supposed to know? Yeah. And I thought the movie Alien was a totally separate film, not part of the franchise. Well, that's wrong. But then the movie Gladiator has absolutely nothing to do with the TV show Gladiators. Yeah, it's a totally different franchise, yeah. But no, this is different. Alien and Aliens are connected. Aliens is a direct sequel to the first one. So finally I got my facts right, yeah. I think I was 14 and it was the summer holidays and I saw Alien on the telly. I thought, finally, at last, see it properly from start to finish. All these references I'd heard to the Alien sequels in pop culture, in magazines, everywhere, So I thought, finally, let me judge it for myself, yeah. And it's very slow paced, yes. It is not non-stop action and laser guns and explosions like Star Wars. No, it's very different, But then as you get into it, it's not supposed to be. This is not supposed to be a Star Wars story, no. It's something different. Yes, a very different kind of sci-fi adventure, yeah. And when the title comes up in the word alien, or pieces of the letters of alien come up, just bits, and then finally all the letters are complete. Why do they do that? Well, I'm guessing it's because the creature, we only see glimpses of it until we see it in its full form, yeah. And in the same way, the title of the film shows glimpses and hints, and then finally we see it complete, yeah. And the word alien has many different meanings. The most obvious, it means a creature from another planet. But also, in the broadest sense, alien means unknown, yes. These are space truckers delivering a load of cargo of mineral ore, and they're not used to it. They're not used to seeing unknown creatures. Yeah, it is totally alien. Nobody knows what it's called, what it can do, where it comes from, nothing, no. And, okay, let's get on with the story. It does remind me of 2001 A Space Odyssey, because it's a very slow spaceship, yeah. And plus, the obvious other connection is they're in hibernation capsules because they can't go at the speed of light. Yeah, so they're just going very, very slowly indeed. It can take years, so you have to sleep. Yeah, go in hibernation. That explains why much later in the story, the monster is wreaking havoc on board the ship. They can't signal for help, or if they could, they're far away from anywhere. They can't just instantly go home, no, and get some help. No, you've got to sort this problem out yourself. You're totally isolated. Hence the tagline, in space, no one can hear you scream. Yeah. You're completely isolated. You've got to sort this problem out yourself. And yes, The Thing, that came out 3 years later, was made because of the success of this film. That's not in outer space, but it's in the Antarctic. And you're totally isolated, so you have to sort the problem out yourself. So you could say Alien influenced The Thing, but The Thing was a remake, The Thing from Another World from the 50s. So by that logic, yes, what came first? The Thing from Another World influenced Alien, in the feeling of isolation. That's one way of looking at it. Another way, it's like a haunted house story in outer space, Or it's like Jaws in space, this horrible monster. Or it's a slasher movie in space. Well, it sort of combines different genres together, yeah. A bit like a friend of mine once, she said she loves horror films, but she hates sci-fi films. And I said, have you ever seen a horror sci-fi film? And she couldn't answer that one. No, she'd never thought of what put the two genres together, yeah. And Alien is a really good example of horror and sci-fi combined. But in the opening sequence, oh yes, and it also reminds me a bit of Red Dwarf. That's a huge tanker full of this fuel, a huge, massive ship, more than a mile long, and such a small crew, yeah. Anyway, in the opening sequence, we see, well, everyone's asleep. No, it's like a haunted house. There's no activity, no movement for a long time. Then the computer turns itself on and wakes the people up. And think, what's going on? Why aren't we at Earth yet? That's our mission, to deliver all this cargo to Earth. And the captain goes to speak to Mother, because the computer that drives the ship is called Mother. Yes, the theme of mother and giving birth to babies comes up in the story. Anyway, they have to go like a rescue mission. There's a distress call coming from a planet. We're only halfway to Earth. And we've got to go and rescue them, And Parker, oh yeah, they all call each other by their surnames, yeah. But like the sequel, Aliens, yeah. Anyway, Parker says very matter-of-factly, no, I'm not paid to do that kind of job. I don't have the qualifications to do a rescue mission. It could be dangerous, I'm just in it for the money. I'll only do it if I'm paid more money. And then the captain points out to him that in your contract, if you ignore the chance to make contact with an alien species, your salary will be forfeit, so you won't get paid. So then he agrees to do it. They go down, yes, and they find what looks like an alien spaceship that's crashed, shaped like a horseshoe. So I've never seen anything like it. Have they ever met any other alien creatures before? It doesn't clearly specify. Well, clearly they don't on a regular basis. All we know is when they capture that face hugger thing, and Ash, who's part of the science division, says we've never encountered a species like this. So when he says like this, does he mean they've met other aliens? Well, anyway, clearly aliens are very rare in this story, yeah. And the facehugger gets Kane, yeah, so they get him in the infirmary. And, oh yes, I suppose I just have to point this out. The first and second in command are not on board the ship. They want to get Kane back in the infirmary immediately. Ellen Ripley says, no, you can't come in, because that could give us a disease and we could all die, so I can't let you in. We have to put Kane in quarantine for 24 hours. And Captain Dale says, no, he could die in 24 hours. That's not good enough. No, let us in right now. He goes, no, I can't do that. That is against regulations. He goes, I'm the captain. It's a direct order. Let us in. And she says, no, but if you're not on board the ship, I'm the senior officer. And I say, no, you can't come in. Then Ash opens the door. They get in and, yes, they find out a lot about this creature. And they think, what if we cut one of its legs off? Then it'll have to let him go. But it bleeds acid. It has acid for blood that disintegrates through the deck, then another deck, then it's almost done a third deck. Now, if there's a hole in a spaceship when you have to go into outer space, that's a really big problem, yeah. So yes, you daren't kill this thing because it bleeds acid, yeah. Anyway, much later in the story, well, basically Ripley is very matter-of-fact and by the book. The company knows best. You must do what the company tells you to do. But when she finds out, according to the company, because afterwards she has access to Mother, the computer called Mother says, collect alien specimen, bring it back to the company. That's priority one. The crew is expendable. So they want this alien creature, sell it to a weapons division for loads of money, and it'll make the company far richer than it already is. The crew will die, but they should be happy to die on behalf of the company to make it much richer. And Ellen Ripley goes, no way, we're not doing that. We're not sacrificing our lives for the good of making money. No, that is wrong, very wrong indeed. So she's changed her mind then. She doesn't do everything by the rules if it means saving her own skin. Oh, earlier she wasn't willing to break the rules to save Kane, but she's willing to break the rules to save her own skin. Does that make her a bad person? Well, it depends how you look at it. You could say, well, she's young and naive, but in the next few days there's a lot of growing up. It's not as simple as that. Under normal circumstances, you must do what your superiors say. And yes, they have a loyalty to the company, but not that loyal. No, they're not willing to give their lives. No, that's going much too far, yeah. And apparently Ash the robot was not originally meant to be in the story. No, but I'm glad they included him, yeah, because at first it's just like a slasher movie in space, people getting picked off one at a time, but the twist with the robot, that made it a bit different, yeah. And in fact, he's been protecting this creature all along, so they bash his head off, but being a robot, he's still alive, so they turn him on again, minus his body. And they say, if you know so much about this alien, how do we kill it? None of our weapons can hurt it. And he says, you can't. That's the whole point. You can't kill it. That's why it's so valuable. That's why it makes such a good weapon, yeah. And the alien creature, it has no remorse and no conscience. Now, when a creature has no conscience, it has no ground rules. So it is the perfect psychotic killer. So if you unleash that on your enemies, it will kill everything. What will stop it from killing you? Yeah, that's an issue. But the robot, the creature, he admires the alien because it's a survivor. It'll survive no matter what. He, on the other hand, doesn't care about his own life. He just does whatever the company tells him. But that's because he's a robot. That's why. Yeah. So he's the opposite. He doesn't care about his own survival. Anyway, oh yes, and before we know he's a robot, when he tries to kill Ripley by suffocating her, I thought he was still human. I thought he'd gone mad, and or he's going stir crazy, or just the hopelessness of the situation. None of their weapons can kill that creature. It's a sort of movie you need to see twice. When you find out he was protecting that creature all along, oh, he's a bad one, yeah. Oh yes, and something else that makes it different to Star Wars. In the Star Wars films, good and evil are very clearly defined. But in this one, the company that they think is on their side has turned against them. Yes, so good and evil are not clearly defined at all. I mean, who sent the robot? An enemy company or criminals? No, their company, the one they've worked for and have been very loyal to, doesn't care about their... That's horrible, yeah. And the most notorious scene is when, yes, the alien creature or a face hugger has laid an egg inside John Hurt and the monster comes out and I remember my reaction. At first, I guessed what's going to happen. Yes, the creature's going to come out of his stomach, yeah. And my reaction was, oh my God. Yes, it is horrifying the first time you see it. And I said, oh my God, like that the first time I saw a gore a bit in The Fly as well. Yeah, so yes, it is pretty horrible stuff, yeah. And but then we realise that, yes, this creature is loose, it's on board. And how are they going to kill it? Because it bleeds blood, acid, yeah. Well, they have to get it in the airlock and get it out like that because they daren't make a big hole in the spaceship. Everyone's getting picked off one at a time, yes. And because the captain is killed, then Ellen Ripley becomes the lead character now. She's the hero. And there's one last final scare at the end of the film. She's caught with her pants down, or metaphorically and literally. Yes, she's vulnerable, completely helpless. And then, oh yes, when she fires that harpoon gun and gets out and then closes the door. Why did she close the door? Because when the door closes, it goes on like the fishing line thing, and then the creature still has another chance to get back in the ship. Oh no! So the boosters of the shuttle fire it out into space. Yeah, finally, at last, it's over. All that fighting survival was worth it because we have one last survivor. So yes, the first is one of the best in the franchise. You must see Alien. Okay, thank you for watching. I'm Anthony Hobbs, and I'm never bored.